Oh, what is going on, you dead set legends? And welcome to the Ready Bang, the number one live interactive arm wrestling podcast in the world. I'm your host, the Aussie Arm Wrestler, and joining me is one of the most influential men in the arm wrestling world. He has done so much for the sport, and this time we've got him after a good meal. This time we've got him after he's put on a couple of kegs. We've got a bit more happy Larry Wheels. My man, how are you going?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. Sitting at about 128 kg at the moment and just shy of my all-time biggest, which is 136 kg. So we can say I'm well fed going into this match. I feel stronger than ever. Tons of carbs in my system. Training's going well. So far, we're on a good track.
Well, yeah. Well, when we had a quick chat beforehand, you look wider. You got shoulders for days, mate.
There we are.
Look at that. That is insane. I've got some photos I'll put up later on in the show. But what's it like being back in Dubai at the old stomping ground?
Well, last time I was here, it was midst of summer, boiling hot. Now I'm here in the winter time of Dubai, which I think is arguably the best place in the world to be during November all the way up until about March or so. Just low humidity, beautiful weather, everything is outdoors, great food. So I'm really happy, really having a good time catching my fiance out here. She's still not with me out in the States. So we're waiting a little over a year to move out to America. So the only time I get to see her is when I'm here in Dubai. So you can imagine how much I look forward to coming out here.
Oh, wow. No wonder you've got a bigger bloody smile on this time than the last time we caught up. Bloody,
Yes.
I know once I go back upstairs and I'm back with my wife, I'm a very, very happy man. That's such little interesting tidbit you give us, because when you're in the social eye as big as you are, every single move is criticized, it's critiqued, and Larry's doing this and he's not doing that. But now, knowing, when you're back in the States, you don't have your be all end all, your ride or die. That is, yeah, man, that changes a lot for me.
No doubt. And I always preach life is good in LA, but without having my partner to share it with, it feels like something's missing, of course. So I can't wait till she's out there with me. And now that I'm here in Dubai, I'm not missing a meal. So that's a big part of my performance. That's a very big part of my performance, just having those consistent meals cooked for me every day. So she really helps me many ways, especially when it comes to keeping me big and strong. So she's irreplaceable. I can't wait to come out there.
Oh, bless her. That is so cool. Right, let's say hi to the superstars that have joined us here in the chat. Varley's jumped in, and he's good morning, Jake. Fellas in the chat at work, just saying what up. We got School Lady Boy hanging around. I love that name. I think it's a great name. It's one of my favorite troll names.
That's perfect. I mean, going ear to ear smiling. That's perfect.
Andy Beckett is hanging out in the chat. Phil Woody is there and thereabouts. We've got the picture is weird under Larry. Jake almost looked like Larry's tits are off slightly. Oh, that is hilarious. Savage Arm Wrestling all the way in Japan. He says, I'm all in on Larry Wheels. And he goes, this means Larry's life is all aligned. This match is in the bag. It's, mate, I am big on being with a beautiful woman. I noticed, when Ron Barth got married to Angie Rose, his performance went up just that little bit. And now knowing that you're there with your lovely Leonidas has got no chance.
Yes, sir. I mean, last time we went right-handed, it was a smoke show in my favor 3 years ago. I wonder how much his right has leveled up. I'm very interested to see how the match goes. Very
Oh,
curious.
mate. We are all up and about. Joe Mummeries, he says, is this live at this time or is my YouTube glitching? No, Larry's in Dubai. It's 4 p.m. Dubai time, getting ready for his big match at King of the Table. So it doesn't matter what time it is in Australia. If Larry says, let's do a show, you're doing a show, that's for sure. And we appreciate it. Like I do. Says, congrats on the new gym. Just quickly, mate, how's all that going along?
Oh, really well. We spent much of this year planning out the gym, picking the right spot. Now we have a spot over in Claremont, California. We've done all the demo and we're nearly about to start the build out, which is the final stage. Hopefully by February, at the latest, March, April, we can be open for the public.
Wow, that's not long. That's not long.
Right around the corner.
That'll be killer. Whereabouts in LA are you based?
So the gym is based in Claremont, California, roughly 45 minutes east if you drive. And I'm in San Dimas, so about 15 minutes away from the gym.
Oh, look at this. Everything's just coming up, Larry. And he's better get his first winning King of the Table. It is all happening. Taco Stew's in the house, and he says, you got this, Larry. And I'll get to some of your comments in a moment. Let's roll back. You said your training has been really well. What's your team like now that you're based in LA? Like you quickly went to Germany and that left-hand thing. We'll get to that a little bit later. But what's your training team like now?
So right now I spend a lot of time working with Derek Smith. He's a brilliant coach. When I was here in Dubai, it was Max Polishuk, who is also brilliant. I love the guy.
He's great.
And, I had to find another coach now that we're so far apart. He's still staying here in Dubai. And Derek is actually local to me. He's only about a 25, 30-minute drive away in Highland Park. And he has a very large group every weekend that gets together and has a very good practice. I think every weekend there's over 20 to 30 guys that show up. So all levels from novice to expert. And Derek himself is also a great, not only coach, but training partner because he's got that height, that leverage advantage. So I'm never going to face an opponent that's going to be bigger than Derek, right? So now that I've gotten used to his hand and comfortable with someone with such a massive advantage over me, and just about everybody else that's not 6'8" or however tall he is, it makes everyone else seem a lot more approachable, right? Because no one's going to have that lever advantage like he can over me. So that builds confidence, and he also is just a great strategist and arm wrestling. So let me rewind, actually. Over the years, it's been challenging making progress because everyone wants to help me. And I've had so many of the best arm wrestlers and coaches try and teach me how they arm wrestle. And there's the age-old saying that goes, too many cooks spoil the dish. And what happens is I end up hearing one thing from one guy that I believe is right and then another from another and end up getting confused. And then I end up making no progress. So now I'm just sticking to one coach. As much as I want to listen to everybody and take advice from everybody, it ended up just getting too confusing. And it was overwhelming. Then when it comes time to show day, where my big super match or tournament, I don't know who to listen to, right? So the best thing I've done for myself this past few months is just stick with one coach, listen to one guy. And sure, he's not perfect. Sometimes, like for example, in Germany, he may not be right, but in other times, for the most part, he will be. Putting my faith in him.
Yeah, because I was big on that. Everyone was like, "Oh my god, like Larry's getting beat." I'm sure you've heard it all. And I remember in the early days, I was like, "Larry's got too many people telling him what to do." Like it's amazing to have Devin, Ray, Dennis, Levan, Erdemes. You've got them all there, and it's brilliant. But yeah, so when you get to the table and the ref says go, you've now got to go through your Rolodex of what everyone said. And by that time's happened, well, the match is over. So, that would be pretty hard to stick to one coach considering you can just message anyone and get that sorted. So, yeah, good on you for that.
Exactly, 100%. And moving forward, now that Derek's local to me, I don't intend on changing coaches. As tempting as it might be, even if this match this weekend doesn't go my way, I'm not going to say, okay, well, Derek was wrong this time. Let me go to another coach and try someone else. Really, it's just going to take time developing that relationship with Derek and growing together as a coach and client. And I'm just going to stay committed with him because ultimately, it's one thing to have someone send me a training program or to give me advice over a phone call, but the best training is going to be the hands-on stuff. And Derek is willing to work with me hands-on as much as I need it, and that's, I think, paramount.
Yeah, and I think you've got a pretty good coach there in your back pocket, Derek. Very, very knowledgeable, very knowledgeable. So I don't think you can go wrong there. Your biggest fans in the chat, Larry? We've got Adam here. He's hanging around. Thank you to Adam.
12 hours I've seen him last. I spend more time with this guy than my wife,
Well, it would be. Is that an everyday thing? Is it twice a day? The relationship with you and Adam?
Well, for a long time, it was nearly every other day we would film. Now we've really dialed back the YouTube filming frequency and how often we upload, mostly because it's too much pressure to put out a quality video several times a week. And that leads to creativity burnout, and we end up putting out more quantity versus quality. The quality suffers. And as much as I like to give everybody an opportunity to be on my platform, it's kind of spoils the novelty if we let everybody be on the channel, and then the viewers aren't as excited. So we found that just once a week, we have a much easier time and it's more sustainable getting really good collabs and great videos. Plus, it takes a lot of pressure off the both of us. We do sacrifice a bit of ad revenue, but I think long-term, it's worth it because we'll retain the interest and trust in our viewers that we're always going to put out quality content than just trying to pump out videos as often as we can to drive up the ad revenue.
Yeah, so. and if anyone knows about YouTube, Larry, go with your gut feeling, mate. I think you're doing all right. That's
like it's trial and error. But ultimately, I mean, overall, we've been working together nearly a decade now. I met him when I was a teenager, I just turned 29. I met him when I was, I think, 19 or so. So just about a decade we've been working together, and about 8 years or so full time. And much of that time has been just about every other day filming or doing something, traveling the world. So it's been a good run so far.
Yeah. Mate, a great run. I can't believe you're only just turned 29. I'm about to turn 39 next week. Oh, Jesus.
Ooh, next week. Oh, happy belated, man. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Big supporter of the show, Silky Wilkie's in the chat. He says, love you, Larry. Back to the table. And now show us how much you've gotten strong.
Thank you, Silky Wilkie.
They're all in there. The Nightmare is in the chat, as well as the Dungeon Master. A whole heap of nice people just hanging out, including Viking Mode. He says, good luck in your upcoming match, which is brilliant. Savage wants to know, did you bring Derek to Dubai?
I did not. It's a pretty expensive flight to come out here, 17 hours to Dubai. So that would be the reason.
Yeah.
As much as I would love to have him here, yeah, it's pretty expensive to bring someone out here. And I can't put Derek in economy. He's 6'8", 400 pounds.
Well, yeah. Yeah. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, because you got all this YouTube money, sponsorship, and you're absolutely well. It's like, no, it's not just your normal flight.
Exactly.
I would be shattered if I was in economy and Derek Smith comes sat next to me. Just like, oh, mate.
17 hours, mind you. 17 hours. I couldn't do it to my worst enemy. As much as I want him here, I couldn't have to find him economy. I couldn't do that to him or anybody or the people sitting next to him.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you know about long flights. You come out here to Dubai frequently and, it can be miserable.
Well, Dubai is my favorite one because it's only 14 hours from Australia.
Only 14 hours.
Wow. So I this year I went to Ireland, I went to Norway, I went to the States twice, I went to Canada, and they're all 24 hours plus.
Whoa, my goodness.
And multiple flights. So when it's when King of the Table ring up and say you're coming back, I'm like, yes, it's one flight and it's half the time. So,
wow, I never thought of it that way. 24 hours minimum, man. My hat's off to you. That's some serious patience.
Oh, look, I'm a very lucky man, Larry. A lot of people would kill to be in the position I am. So I definitely don't complain. I definitely don't complain at all about it.
I can't complain. Now I look at 17 hours as that's not so bad. Aussie's going 24 plus hours. So
yeah, my longest one was 42 hours.
Wow.
One way.
What? That's just unbelievable. Where was that?
So that was my very first arm wrestling international trip. I went to England, but what had happened was I flew to Thailand, had to get off at Thailand, had an 8-hour stopover. That got delayed to 12 hours, which then when I flew to Denmark, I missed my connecting flight to England. So I had another 9 hours in Denmark, had to fly to Copenhagen, stay 5 hours in Copenhagen, finally made it to England. And then they lost all my luggage.
Oh, and the plot thickens. Wow, when shit hits the fan. Oh, man.
Yeah. And I was like, everyone's like, oh, you got to give up arm wrestling now? You're not going to travel? And I was like, it can't get any worse than this.
Kick you while you're down. Unbelievable.
That is right. That is right. And the Nightmare's in the chat. How you going, Dan? He says, can't wait to see Larry go bang.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
go. So what is your table time look like? Let's go post Olympia, because we all know huge focus was on Olympia. Olympia's done. What's been your table time like?
Really, it's just been once a week because I'm trying to go into this match fresh, and the time from Olympia to the match is only a few short weeks, right? There's not much time to really get stronger and then have time to taper off from the heavy training and come into the match well rested. So I had to take the approach of, okay, I'm not going to get any stronger from Olympia to the match as an arm wrestler. The best thing I can do is rely on muscle memory. So lots of heavy bicep curls, heavy work with pronation, wrist cup and everything. I hope that muscle memory kicks me back into action and where I feel like I did at my peak early in the year before when I first arrived to America, when I was just fresh off of the regular training I was doing in Dubai. And it has worked, in just a few short weeks, I feel like as good as I've ever felt before. Now I've had very light sessions on the table. Main focus has just been coming to this match fresh, right? And I remember hearing about this from Devin, how long his tapers can be. After like a heavy few months of training, he'll spend several weeks just deloading into the match so he can come in 100%. And I found over the years that the tendons and ligaments in the elbow and everything in the arm that's related to arm wrestling takes so much time to recover. So if I have one hard, intense practice session, I need at least 3 weeks to feel like 90%, maybe even over a month before like my elbow feels fresh again, before my bicep feels fresh again, my wrist feels good. It takes a long time to recover, even just from a heavy practice session. So with all that in mind, I have mostly been focusing on strategy with Derek and the setup. Most important thing has been the setup. That's usually where I get defeated when all my super matches. I'm always losing before the ready bang even happens. I'm always getting advantage of in the setup. I always end up playing their game and doing what they want me to do. And next thing you know, it's like round one, I'm already blowing up my forearm, I'm holding on too tight, or so many variables why usually once the match even starts, I've already lost, because I'm spending way too much energy trying to figure out what to do before they're ready to go. A lot of that is nerves, but also just inexperience and not enough time practicing the actual setup. Because I spent a lot of time practicing positioning after they're ready to go, and of course weight training and having hard matches with like Derek and the other strong guys in the group. but not much time has ever been spent with the actual setup. So that's going to be the difference this time.
Mate, everyone clip that. For those that say Larry's not dedicated to arm wrestling, just clip that last minute and say he's working on everything. He watches his losses. He hates losing. So I think everyone else can now. All right, we're on here. We're on with a huge match here. I mean, I want to put these photos up because I saw these, I think it was even yesterday, and it shocked me. This is Olympia Larry.
I don't even recognize myself. First off, look how long my neck is, right? What happened? It disappeared. It's like several inches shorter. What happened?
Oh, wow. So how much are you weighing here?
At the time of that photo being taken, I was 230 pounds. And
wow.
I had to sacrifice significant amount of muscle tissue to get that low. Significant amount.
Yeah. When we spoke before your left arm match, Larry the Brontosaurus.
That's a good one.
I remember I was like, right, because I was with Uncle John. We were in Canada. Mm-hmm. And I went, oh, yeah, thanks, Larry. Anyway, see you, everyone. We're out of here. And I remember just turning to Uncle John and I was like, Larry's lost too much weight. Oh, I've told everyone he's going to win. He's going to dominate. Oh, no, he's lost too much weight. As strong as he is, because that was insane, 230. So then now let's pre-lunch Larry. Now, if we go after lunch Larry.
Oh, yeah.
Happy Larry.
Yes.
So what was it again? 120 kilo? 126 kilo? 128.
Yeah.
Far out. That is insane.
I had no idea what was possible. This is my first time really getting fully depleted and stage-ready condition for a bodybuilding show. I've competed back in 2018, but I never got 100% stage ready. I was cheating on my diet, right? And really that's all that I need to do to not come in with the proper conditioning. So I never experienced that insane refeed that happens after a show. Well, it doesn't have to happen, but I was thinking just a couple of meals, a couple of days of eating whatever I want isn't going to make me blow up like it did. And well, we guys know what happened. We all know what happened now. And it was a real eye opener. I mean, my coach said, hey, just have a gallon of water or two before you start eating. So I did. And I just didn't stop eating for about 2 days. Every couple of hours, another 2,000 calorie meal. Didn't even sleep much, I remember, because I had such just an unsatisfiable craving. I slept like 2-3 hours a night the first couple of days because I didn't want to stop eating. But again, I didn't know how powerful that feeling would be post show. So I underestimated how hungry I would be after the show. And not only that, but how I wouldn't ever be able to get satisfied. Right. And maybe because I wasn't educated on bodybuilding enough and what they go through after a show, I didn't even cross my mind. So I was totally unprepared for what was going to come. And with that said, I regret nothing. I do not recommend what I did. Definitely don't do it for anyone watching. Terrible idea. Very dangerous for many reasons. But luckily, because I wasn't on many PEDs going into the show, my blood pressure came back at 120/70 just 2 days after the binge. And my heart rate was still really low. I was doing cardio going into the show. So I was actually in good health, despite my gut.
Look, you can tell how happy you are. Oh yeah, real good health. Yeah, yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, don't do it though, guys. Don't do it. That's insane. Yeah. That's incredible discipline. That's just unbelievable. I'll put them side by side there. Wow. It's like the bloke on the right ate the bloke on the left. That's That's what happened. If you took a shit, that's what the one on the left would be. Like that's a Larry Wheels poo right there. Like just a huge difference. And for this and this reason alone, this is why you're winning on the weekend. This and this alone. Leonidas is huge. And yeah, he's a left-hand specialist and you're doing all the right things. But going from 230 to 270 or whatever, 128, I'm a kilos guy. So going to from 100 kilos to 128, that power alone will let you win.
And I must say, that power that I did not have at 230, or rather even before I did the water cut and got truly stage ready, like I say, about 2 to 3 weeks out, I was around 240 in the gym, which isn't too far off where I was before I started the prep, which was about, well, actually it was. I was 270 before the prep started. Now that I think about it, yeah, it was still quite a bit lower than what I'm usually at. But my strength was way down, lower than it's ever been. I legitimately felt like I was 100% natural. And it was the weakest I've ever felt. Not only did my lift suffer, but my energy was just non-existent. You know, I mean, after one exercise, I was just completely spent. And the intensity was so low those few weeks of training for the bodybuilding show, because I just didn't have any reserve to draw it from, right? So the intensity really suffered. And that was the first thing that I noticed when I got food back in me, is just how much more I was able to push myself during my workouts. And that is so important for training, as we all know. And now my strength is just about as good as it's ever been, especially with my upper body. Lower body is still coming back. It takes a bit more time. There's a bigger drop off there, but my upper body feels really strong. I feel confident going into this match, no doubt.
Oh, mate, I'm confident for you. That's for sure. Quick question from Tim. He says, has Larry fed any particular dietary supplements help with your arm wrestling aches and pains?
I wish there was a magic pill, but nothing works better than just resting it. And it's the hardest thing to do, but the most effective. I will say that hot cold therapy is amazing for the inflammation, but it's dangerous because it doesn't actually help with recovery. It just reduces the inflammation, but the inflammation promotes healing. So if you stop that and then you go practice when your body doesn't want you to, and you ignore the signals your body sends to you, that's what can lead to an injury. So it's a tricky one, because like, okay, you can do hot cold therapy and do more training, but that training could also lead to an injury because you're not actually recovered or ready for more hard training. I like to embrace the inflammation and the aches and pains, because it tells me, okay, I need to dial things back, right?
Yeah.
And if everything hurts, right, that's your body saying, okay, hey, slow down, let us catch up with all the training you've been doing, and then come back at it a few weeks later stronger, right? I mean, there's always the case, right, where you're at a practice and there's one guy that's super strong, he leaves for a few weeks, takes a break, comes back, and he crushes everybody, right? It's like he's untouchable. There's always that guy, right? So it's like, that's just a great example of when you're in a practice group and everyone's killing themselves every week, everyone's hurt, everyone hurts, everything hurts, right? No one wants to take time off, we all love it, but that one guy takes time off, he comes back and just kills everybody. You're like, what happened? Because we're all fucking beat up and this guy's well rested, right? So I think rest goes a long way in arm wrestling, but it's a hard thing to do for me because I genuinely love to arm wrestle, you know? Adam is the worst when it comes to this because he arm wrestles every day without every day. Hats off to Adam. I know he's watching this. Every day, you know, and then never mention the arm wrestles every day without fail. And he's able to get through it, but he does have his aches and pains. He just says whatever and does it anyway. But I am the opposite. You know, if something hurts, I stop arm wrestling until the pain goes away. You know, maybe that's why I haven't won a supermatch yet.
Okay. There's another. See, there's another interesting thing. It's like it's funny watching the internet and everyone knows exactly what's going on, but at the moment you haven't been with your lovely whilst living in America, and you don't train every week because you want to ensure that it doesn't hurt. So for me, that answers so many questions. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. What wasn't brilliant was Germany. The left-handed match. Was that clearly just depletion?
So at that time in training, this was a few weeks out from my bodybuilding show.
Hmm.
Sure, I was definitely weaker than I am right now, without a doubt. I was weaker than how I would have been had I not been depleted, but I was able to carb up before the match. But even besides that, Leonidas was also cutting for, I think, the strict curl. He was also a bit depleted himself. Now, had this been a typical Leonidas where he's just off season, super strong, right? Where he's like, I think 130 kg plus, different story, but he actually had dropped significant amount of weight as well. He was shredded. I mean, we did a double bicep after the match, and I mean, he had obliques popping. He was significantly leaner than I remember him being when we first arm wrestled a few years ago, back in, I think, 2020 or 2019. So I think we were both depleted and we both weren't 100% at our strongest. But the difference with that is, in the strap, his bicep and wrist flexion was just significantly stronger than mine. There's really nothing else to say about that. I mean, when you grip up with somebody and there's just a big strength gap, and I felt that in the strap. Like, outside of the strap, he didn't have, I don't know if he was trying to slip or not, or didn't have enough hand control, whatever it was. I felt comfortable outside of the strap, but in the strap, there's just no chance. Now, there could be something to be said about how he applied the strap. He may have been taking a big advantage that I wasn't unaware of, but I felt the big strength gap in the strap. And when you're in the strap, right, allows you to access more of your bicep and your back pressure. And, I just couldn't match it, not even close. Like, it was not a close match, obviously, but I felt that immediately in the straps. So, but that's also what I felt a few years ago when he first arm wrestled me in Schoolboy. And at that time, he was a complete novice arm wrestler, I think like his first year. And he was nearly pinning Schoolboy, who was, at the top of his game and, of course, a world-class arm wrestler. So that says a lot about how good his left is, and it has always been. Whereas my left is surely as good, but at that time, he beat me just as easily as he did recently, So, but the difference is now he's been training that same arm ever since. Right. And he did take this match very seriously. He said he took 3 months to really train that left hand to prepare for me. And maybe he didn't even have to do that. And he still could have beat me, because there is a big gap in the left. But on the right, I was able to pin him just as convincingly, at least back then, 3 years ago, as he pinned me in the left. So that gives me a bit of confidence going into this match this weekend, meaning, like, I know for certain he's not as strong on his left. So I know there's an actual real opportunity for me to win. But we'll see, of course, once it actually goes down. But I remember way back then, the left hand of his was just on another level. There's nothing I could say to take that away from him. Got to give credit where it's due.
Oh, of course. I was just more wanted your insight, and you gave me more than enough there. So I really appreciate it. Is Leonidas in Dubai now? Has he arrived yet?
I don't know.
Oh, I was wondering if you had sized up with him yet.
I don't know how big he is at the moment either. That'd be interesting to see if he's gained weight for the match or if he's still lean. I'm not sure. That would be interesting to know, though.
Who cares? He is getting whooped.
Yes, sir.
Now, more importantly, I think a lot of people want to know, what round do you and Leonidas just look at each other and go, right, shirts off, let's go?
What round? Let's see. That's got to be. It's got to be round 3, because we got to get a pump going first before we take the shirts off. We got to get a good pump going on,
What I want is round 1, you get the win. You sit there, you hook him in. We're just going to get 2 Neanderthals in a hook, and you go bang. Round 2, I want Leonidas to get the pin, and then you both just start barking each other. And then it's the Superman, Hulk Hogan rip of the shirt, and then we're on. You'll then the viewership of the women just skyrocket, and you sell record-breaking pay-per-views.
Maybe that's what we're missing. We're missing sex appeal.
Yep.
That's what the sport needs.
Wow, look at us. We're all gangly and, we walk around like T-Rexes and we use terms like pulling and hooking and, very
Exactly.
little sex appeal. Get
Yes.
your kid off, Larry. Get your kid off. We need it. I look at my YouTube statistics, and it's like 98.7% men that watch this channel, and the other one's my wife.
Yeah. Honestly, on the bodybuilding, strongman, powerlifting side of things, it's about the same. About 97% watch my channel.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like that. Luckadoo saying something nice. He says Larry played a huge part when nothing was happening in arm wrestling. Thank you, Larry. Ready, bang.
Thank you, Lucky Dude 79. Thank you, sir. Had a hell of a time. It was a great opportunity. I mean, feeling the hands of the strongest arm wrestlers in the world will never get old. That was a really unique experience. Very, very fun.
Well, just quickly on that, how do you see? You're a very humble person. I always picture you as like an introvert living in an extrovert world with what you do. That's how when people say, have you met Larry? I said that's how I describe you. But how do you feel knowing that you really put a heartbeat back into a sport that was really quiet? You really helped launch the YouTube era of arm wrestling. We're at a golden age of arm wrestling. It's probably never been as popular. And when you bring it back to its starting point, you were one of the catalysts.
Well, I feel happy to be a part of something that's bigger than myself. There's many pioneers of the sport right now that are really helping push it to that next level and help it go mainstream. Devin Lara, Schoolboy, for example, Levon. Levon's now on Netflix. He was in the Extraction 2. As one of the Georgian terrorists. It was just awesome, to see these big players and that I could be a part of that. I think we all want to feel like we're part of something bigger than ourselves. So, this was really, really cool opportunity. And, I expect nothing back from the community. I do expect to win at some point, but as long as at some point I get a win, I'm happy. Just don't let me be the guy with the biggest losing streak in arm wrestling. That's all.
Oh,
No. Don't let me be that guy.
I can't keep taking bullets for you, Larry. I just can't. But it's going to end. Your super match duck is going to be over this weekend. He's going to be brilliant. I hope everyone buys the pay-per-view because Larry was there when arm wrestling wasn't happening. King of the Table is his baby. He's back there as a competitor, and everyone should be should be over the moon that you're sticking around in the sport, especially with a huge platform that you have. Because I know a lot of people have gotten into the sport of arm wrestling because of you.
No doubt. And honestly, it brings a smile to me every time I go to a gym that's privately owned, boutique gym, wherever it may be, and I see an arm wrestling table there. And I wonder if I had any influence on that. Because it's really cool that it's legitimately becoming mainstream. I mean, here, there's several gyms in Dubai that have arm wrestling tables. In LA, there's several gyms I've been to, I've never heard of, that have arm wrestling tables just, in the corner for anyone to use it. So I'm wondering, how much I've had a part in that, and that, how can we get arm wrestling even bigger than what it is now? I'm all for it. It's the only sport that I currently do. I can do indefinitely. There's no shelf life. Right. And that's one of the main reasons it's always going to have a special place in my heart. I can stop for 10 years and then 10 years later from now, be one of the best in the world if I put my, head down, be humble and do the work. So I can't say that about bodybuilding, about powerlifting, about strongman, about anything else I'm doing. But with arm wrestling, right, I can do this indefinitely. As long as my arm works, I can arm wrestle. And I love that about it. It's there to stay.
It is brilliant. And I can understand why you went to the gym every day in Dubai. I went to the gym where you used to film all your videos and things like that. That gym is incredible. Like, I didn't want to leave. And I'm like, I go to the gym. I don't go to the gym like Larry goes to the gym, but I like to work out if the body can hold up. But it was like double story. And you were on one of the screens. I had everyone's like YouTube playing, and there's like multiple massive screens everywhere. And like here in Australia, people grab grab their phone and they try and hide, to film their bench or something. But the gym where you were training, there's the 2 lights, the camera crew, and everything like that. It was brilliant. I absolutely loved it at that gym.
Yes, they really set the bar extremely high. I haven't been to a gym that's more well equipped for bodybuilding than Bonneau's gym. They're lackluster at the strength side of things, but it's not a strength training gym. It's a gym, right, that's dedicated to bodybuilders. And boy, have they really brought out the big guns. There's every machine like imaginable in that gym. I mean, there's just like a dozen variations of every small angle that you can train for the biceps and for everything, for every muscle group. So it's really cool place to train. And the fact that they let you film there just makes it all the better. In LA, when Adam and I first moved there, we had to go to several gyms before we found one that would let us film. I mean, let alone turn the music down. That was a whole nother ordeal. So,
yeah.
And this is LA, right? Where this is arguably like the biggest city in the world that's oriented for, that's geared for entertainers. So you would think they'd be a bit more understanding and they would let it slide, plus free marketing for the gym. But that's not what the members want, and that's not what they want. So most gyms just don't allow it. So that's another reason why Bonneau's has been so important to us throughout our time here in Dubai, because they appreciate us. We can turn the music down, we can film as necessary, we can bring in whatever Hulk we want from whatever country. It's just they give us so much freedom in that gym. It's hard to beat it, right? And then it's well equipped. Everything we ever need is in there. And really, for arm wrestling, all we need is arm wrestling tables, right? So we've always been able to get that in there at the very least. But it's they've been really good to us. Great gym. They've been great to us.
Absolutely. But back to your match, because we've got maximum 10 minutes, guys. Maximum 10 minutes. Get some of your questions in. We're going to talk about his match and the rest of the card. I'm telling you, mate. Now, before I ask this question, get all that humbleness, that niceness that Larry has. Just chuck it on the shelf for a minute, Larry. Let's get that. Let's get raw here. Does Leonidas now have any chance of beating you on the weekend?
On the right hand, no, sir. Not gonna
happen. Yes. That's what we want. Book it. I'm going to what is it? Sports bet, arm bet. I'm going to arm bet. I'm going to put a tenner. That is awesome. That is so good with the predictions. Yes. Larry's winning 6-0. Lock it in. It's my shoe-in of the week. It is happening. You've spent time with Erdemes. You've spent time with Vitali. This looks like an absolute killer match. Have you got any thoughts on it?
I have to say, from what I saw in practice here in Dubai and from what I've seen in their super matches, which, by the way, when it comes to predictions, always wrong. But I have to give Vitali the advantage just because of his height advantage, and that really makes such a big difference. And we saw that with Devin and Hermes. I was not expecting the match to go that way, right? I believe Hermes still has more raw power than Devin, but is the reason why it was such a landslide in Devin's favor because of that advantage in his tall arms? I think yes. I think it makes a big difference. And Vitali has even more of an advantage than Devin does, right? Longer fingers, longer arms, right? So even though Hermes may be stronger on the compound movements, which I think he is, I think he's proved that, he's still at a disadvantage because of his shorter arm, and he's a top roller, right? We don't really see Hermes go into a hook with anybody. So I think Vitali is going to take this one, I love Hermes, right? He's my favorite arm wrestler just because he always brings that intensity, just like Matt Mask. And I can relate to these guys because in my sport, powerlifting, when I am successful, hit PR, I get those rage moments, which I see in Hermes and Matt Mask. So it's very relatable for me. That's why I love them so much. So I want Hermes to win, but I think Vitali's going to take it.
Wow. Love it. That is a good one. So then, of course, the other main event is going to be Devin and Georgie. We've seen what Devin's done. Has Georgie got any chance?
I don't think so. I think Devin is going to gas Georgie out, and it's really going to be a battle of endurance. There's not a strength gap between the two of them, I believe, for Georgie to be able to flash pin Devin. It's never going to happen. So it's going to end up in a sticky situation, and Georgie, I think, is going to get gassed out. And I mean, this is Devin's specialty, right? The problem, I think, with beating Devin is you got to pin him fast, right? But he's still super strong. So it just doesn't happen. We only didn't happen once, right, with Levon. But everybody else is going to end up in a war with Devin, and Devin has better conditioning and endurance than everybody. So I just can't see Georgie being able to pin Devin fast enough or outlast Devin. I think Devin is really just unbeatable right now, unless you're Levon.
Yeah, it's becoming that stage at the moment. Yeah, Devin looks incredible. And I was saying it on the show the other day, someone of Georgie's size in the most respectful way possible and endurance my mind can't comprehend it. So everyone's like, Georgie's got huge endurance and he did well against Jerry. But I'm a bit like, it's playing with my mind. It is playing with my mind. If you were to choose, where would you go on the card? Would you want to be first? Would you want to be the main event? Do you want to sit in the middle? Where would you like to be?
I always want to be first so I could get the nerves out of the way, right? And just enjoy the rest of the event. If I'm the main event, then I'm nervous the entire event, sitting in the back room, getting in my head, overthinking things. So I want to get it out of the way first, have my fun, get the nerves out, and then just enjoy the rest of the event, right? And the longer I spend being nervous and overthinking things, I'm getting stressed, and that's what leads to me getting super pumped in that first round. The cortisol is through the roof, and I need to just be as relaxed as possible going into that match. So the earlier the match, the less time I spend stressing over it.
Yeah, well, there you go. Okay, so book him. Don, Matt, book him first. Kick it off with a bang. That would be brilliant. That would be brilliant. Savage says, I put a 50 on Larry. Guys, if you got any final questions for my man Larry Wheels or any well wishes, because he's about to whoop some German ass on the weekend. It is happening. Let's get it in there. Savage Arm Wrestling says, I put a 50 on Larry. So there you go. Canadian Psycho says, Larry supported arm wrestling was arguably required the most. Because of that, Larry's earned my respect and support. Larry's own personal journey has been very inspiring.
Thank you, Psycho.
There you go. There you go. So a couple of more minutes, we'll get in there. Someone says, who needs brekkie when we have the Aussie arm wrestler to sustain us? So while a couple of questions are coming in, what is the plan now? Because it is Tuesday over there in Dubai. What's the plan now till game day?
So game day, just going over setup every day with Max and making sure that I'm not getting myself gassed out before that ready to go. That's the most important thing for me. Leonidas, I'm sure, has his game plan up to do exactly that. I can say that 100% is going to be the case. It's worked before with him, right? So I expect that to happen again. And Max, knowing the data we can collect from Germany, we just have to strategize on how to preserve my strength and keep my arm fresh throughout the few rounds. That's going to be the most important thing. Because once my hand's blown up, the match is over, right? So I got to make sure I preserve my hand. I don't get too pumped, and don't spend too much time trying to play, or I should say, play Leonidas' game, right? That's going to be the main difference here. That's going to be the main thing I can do now. I can't get any stronger to the match, so just got to rehearse that setup.
Yeah, who's going to be in your corner?
I'd like it to be Max. As long as he can make it, definitely Max.
Yeah. Smart choice. Smart choice. All right, last question. We'll wrap up the show. Will there be another match with Schoolboy in the future?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. I just wonder, when will I know that I've closed the gap? Because Schoolboy is world class, and last time wasn't even close. So I will need to arm wrestle somebody that Schoolboy's arm wrestle to have any inkling of, okay, I'm ready or not. Because I understand how good and strong Schoolboy is. I got to be really ready for that guy. It's a lot to chew. It's a lot to chew on.
Well, what we need you, Schoolboy, and Ryan Bowen. I'm going to give you 6 months to take over Asia. Ryan is currently the king of India. Schoolboy's the king of, I think it's Malaysia and Korea. So then you can hit up the rest of Asia, and then you can all meet and be the top of the continent. That's what you can do. All three of you have super matches there and just break the internet. Guys, please, if we've said it once, we've said it a million times, please buy the pay-per-view. Support what Larry's doing. Support what King of the Table are doing. Support arm wrestling. Getting there. It's going to be a great event. There's 6 events, and we've got Larry Wheels back in Supermatch format. Looked incredible at Arizona State earlier this year. Only lost to a world champion in Sandra Shedez. Not too bad. Whooped everyone else. And, of course, if we can all give Larry a big good luck and watch him. Oh, here we go. Just at the death. Matt Rhodes has popped in. Larry is the guy responsible for where arm wrestling is now. Promoters, fans, and athletes owe Larry a lot.
Oh, thank you very much, Matt. Thank you, sir.
That's a very, very nice thing to say. All right, guys, can we all thank Larry? He's going to go have a nap and a 15,000 calorie meal or something. A snack like that. Yeah. Larry, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, and I will see you very soon.